What's up, guys? How you doing? Today's video is going to be about the house buying process and the five things that I think that you should know about the house buying process that I haven't seen in other videos elsewhere that were part of my experience with buying a house, and I assume it would kind of be generally across the board congruent with other purchases. So I wanted to kind of just run through those five things because I've seen videos online of things to know before buying a house and blah blah blah. And a lot of that, yeah, was true, but there were things that I just didn't know, and I haven't seen anywhere else on YouTube. So I figured I'd kind of get this advice out there for you. And so I'm going to start with number one of the five things that you might not know about buying a house, or that people aren't telling you about buying a house. And I wrote some notes down here. And I wrote, I was writing these during the process. And number one says, sleazy feeling like buying a used car. And I think what I was trying to say there is that when I went into purchasing a house, I didn't expect it to be, I expected like a level above, like a sale professionalism, but like an integrity, or I don't know. I thought it would be a different type of purchase versus like when you go onto a used car lot and you're sitting there trying to, haggle with some guy, and it's not. It's a sales. The real estate agent that is representing the seller, they're just a salesman. That's all they are. And so you kind of realize that throughout the process. And a few things happened with me. Number one was, I remember that I got pre-approved for like 300 or 350 or something like that, and maybe 325. I don't remember what it was. But the house that I ended up looking at, which I'll get into more later on here, the house I liked the most was only listed at 180. And so in order to put an offer in for the house, like one of the tactics was that because you have to send them your pre-approval letter when you send the offer for the house. And whenever your real estate agent representing you sends that offer in, apparently, well, what I was pushed to do was get a separate pre-approval letter for the exact amount that you are offering on the house. So I think I put my first offer in at 165. I believe 165 or 160. I didn't super lowball it, but I definitely took a little bit off. There was some things wrong with the house, and not wrong, but it's just an old house. So I put an offer of 160 or 165, I believe, at first. And so we had to get a separate pre-approval letter to send in, because because what I was told is if they see that, hey, you're approved for 350 or whatever, then the real estate agent on the seller's end is gonna try and fiddle the price up as much as possible and wiggle. So you have to like lie to people about the money you have or what you're pre-approved for in order to make this sale. So that was one of the things. It's just, I'm trying to think of all the different, I'm just winging it right now. So I'm trying to think of all the different things that made it seem like a sleazy deal. Like, not sleazy, but when I went into buying a house, like I was saying, I just thought it was a different type of process versus sitting there like when you go into the used car, you see on the TV shows, they go in the used car lot in like old sweats and some raggedy shirt and some beat up shoes, and so they look poor to try and haggle with the car dealer. Same exact thing, same exact concept with getting a different pre-approval letter for a lower amount than what I was originally approved for. And me personally, I don't see why it matters if I'm pre-approved for 350 and then I send in an offer for 160 on a house that's 180. What are they going to say? No, you're approved for 350. You have to pay more. It doesn't matter if I have $10 in my pocket. If I go and buy a Kit Kat at Walmart, I'm not going to pay more for it just because I have $10. If I had $1 million, I'd pay the same price for a Kit Kat. And I just figured it'd be more of a straightforward process, just in general. So that was one thing. And if I think of anything else, I'll kind of swing back to that first one. But that's number one, was just like the weird, like feel like a used car deal. And I mean, it's a used house deal, so I guess it's pretty much the same thing. And the thing to keep in mind is the seller's agent is they're just a salesman. That's all they are. Yes, they deal with a little more paperwork maybe, but they're just a salesman. They're trying to sell that house, so they get the most commission, and that's their job, and that's their motivation, is that money, because they got to live and stuff like that. Number two, which is going to tie into that first one, is to look over and under your price range. Now, if you want to look over your price range, I'd look a little bit over, but if you want to look under, I'd look a lot under. Because I looked at the very first day, I think we looked at 3 houses. And the first house we looked at was this one that I'm in right now, the one that was listed at 180. The other 2 were like 280, 290, 300, somewhere in there, maybe 320, somewhere, I don't remember exactly. But I remember going into those houses, and it was like, they weren't impressive at all. For that amount of money, it was a lot of cramped spaces. They were nice houses, really nice neighborhoods, and I'm in a nice neighborhood now, but the houses just seem overpriced. And what shocked me was that the house that I got, which was 180, there's way more square footage here. I got a 4-car garage, because the previous owner was like, he was a woodworker, what do you call the carpenter? He was a carpenter, and he built on a second garage and a studio and a storage room and a shed onto the house. So the house is huge. So he added a bunch of stuff, and normally on a market, I guess that's probably not worth much because it's just like some additions or something. Maybe it's not worth much, I don't know. But I thought this was a stellar deal, so I wanted to hop right on it and put an offer in. So if I would have looked, and it was a fluke. At first, I was just looking at houses that were right around my price range, about 20, 30 under, 20, 30 over, and that's what I was looking at in my price range, maybe 50 under. Had I not just randomly turned off the filters and looked around, I wouldn't have seen this house, and luckily I got it. Now this house, yes, it was 180, but it's just old. So everything was super, like I could have just moved in and lived, right? But it had like really old appliances in it. It had like old shag carpet and wallpaper, and it just looked like an old house, I guess. So you got to be ready. Number one, either you like that type of thing, like the wallpaper and the shag carpet. If you like that type of thing, then it doesn't really matter. You could just move into a house like that. And I did move in, but I've been renovating for the past 2 months and turning this house into something that I really want. So expect some renovation costs if you're going to buy something like that. Yeah. So let's say I was going to buy a house, one of the other houses, for $300, right? If I bought this for I think the final price was $165, I believe. Yeah, $165 was the final price, I'm pretty sure. And let's say you put $20,000 in it, assuming you have $20,000 saved up that you can renovate or do it over time, which I'd recommend doing it all up front, but that's another thing, another video for another day. But yeah, so look over your price range a little bit. I wouldn't look too much over your price range because you're not going to find, in my experience, you're probably not going to find a house that is 100,000 over that they're going to come 100,000 down on to meet your whatever you're pre-approved for. So just think about that. Number 3, I always hear on YouTube videos or looking online that don't just, if your friend's a realtor, don't just pick your friend as your realtor just because they're your friend. I had the very opposite experience with that. And you got to keep in mind that the seller's agent is just a salesman, and your real estate agent is they're a middleman, right? So to understand what they do, all they're doing is you say you want to make an offer on this, they're taking you around to houses. You say you want an offer on this house, they put the offer in. Sorry, my light TV went out. They put the offer in and they send it in. And then when everything comes down, they sign the paperwork with you. That's all that is, and they get their commission, right? So my thinking is this. If the job is the barrier for entry is pretty low, you're not going to have some real estate. Like if I would have picked a different real estate agent, would I have got a lower priced house? I really doubt it. Because in my mind, the seller's agent is like I said, they're a salesman. They're trying to get the most out of the house that they can. I don't think they give a crap what your real estate agent says. So that's pretty much, I don't know. It's a wash to me. Now, the main reason I say that it's okay to pick your like a friend that is to be your real estate agent is this. You're going to be spending a lot of time with this person. You're going to be spending quite a bit of time with this person, looking at houses, sitting there with them and their broker or whatever. If you meet the broker, you're going to be spending a lot of time doing paperwork. Why not have it be a friend? Why not give your friend a commission, thousands of dollars, versus giving some stranger thousands of dollars when the job is something that they're both going to do the same? It's a very simple job, straightforward, as far as like their job is just to simply fill out paperwork, send in your offers, take you around to look at houses. Would you rather do that with a friend, or would you rather do that with somebody that you don't know? Another thing with that is the advantage of it being my friend was they didn't try to take advantage of me because we have a friendship, and to them it's worth more to not try to get me to put a higher bid in so they get a higher commission. So they would value, assuming that it's a good friend, right? They would value your friendship more than an extra $400 on their commission check, right? So that's something to keep in mind. I strongly disagree with anybody that says that don't just have Joe Schmo, your best buddy that went and got his real estate license, to be your real estate agent. Why not? You know, it makes the whole thing easier. Number 4 is going to be unexpected costs, and this is something other people cover for sure, the unexpected costs, and that is they're very correct on it, but there's so much more unexpected costs. I'm trying to think of like all the random things. Kind of pertaining to the first thing about the sleazy deal is what's called earnest money, right? Earnest money to me is a total scam. I would highly discourage you from putting earnest money if you were putting an offer in. Earnest money is just money they can then hold over your head throughout the deal. And it became very apparent that they would do anything they could to, if the deal went sour, if something didn't happen, they would do pretty much anything they could to take that. I think I put $1,000 in earnest money in. And the earnest money is just money that says, hey, I'm serious about this offer. Here's this much money. This is, and it goes towards the closing costs whenever you close the house. So it's not like you're losing the money. But the thing with the rules on the earnest money are like, I don't know exactly, but if the deal falls through, I think it's depending on whose fault it is or what the reason was. Either you have to relinquish that $1,000 and give it to them, or you get it back. And I think I don't know how many times I was threatened with like, well, you might lose your earnest money. And that really turned me off of the whole process of house buying with, swinging back to the first thing, the sleazy used deal thing like that. It's like if you went in and put a non-refundable deposit on a used car that you wanted to buy, and then you changed your mind and they're like, oh no, we're keeping the deposit, blah blah. Except with that, you would know it'd be a non-refundable deposit. But yeah, that was one of the unexpected costs, was that, even though I got the money back. Unexpected costs being like when you're moving in, of course, have you ever moved from like apartment to apartment, or apartment to duplex, or duplex to house, or apartment to house? Whenever you move to a new place, you're going to want new cool stuff, new shower curtains and new pots and pans, maybe who knows what you want. In my case, it was appliances were very expensive. All the renovations have been, I think I've spent 20, 25, 30 already on renovations, but I'm doing a lot. I'm trying to think of what the other like unexpected costs were. There's a lot of random closing costs, and the closing costs there's just little random $40, $60, $120 items that you just don't think of that kind of add up. So keep that in mind. I'd say have an extra $1,000 just for like random unexpected costs that you don't expect. I don't know. I'm rambling here and I'm ranting. I'm trying to make this a one long video so I can get it done without editing a bunch. And last is going to be, what was the last? Look at the house multiple times. Also with the last one, unexpected costs, having to do with money. I had a civil judgment against me like years and years, maybe a decade ago. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. And it was a judgment for like $700 maybe, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was. It's these eBay. It was like this eBay scamming thing where they're out of state and then they file a civil judgment against you when you return the item, or it's like this racket they were running, I'm thinking, and they just file the papers out of state, right? And then who's going to fly to Florida to go fight a $700 lawsuit when the plane ticket's $400 or something like that? It's a racket. So I got kind of caught up in that when I was younger, and I never paid it because just on principle it didn't seem right to me. It never sat right with me that they would get that judgment against me. But I didn't pay it, and the amount ended up being, when I went to, because you can't the title company will not sign off on everything if you have a civil judgment. So you have to settle that judgment. So I had to, with interest over those years, the amount was like $10,000, almost $11,000. Luckily, my good friend's an attorney, and he knew the attorney they ad hoc'd in where I'm from to kind of assess my income back then or something like that to see if I could pay the judgment or whatever, which I refused to do because it was complete horseshit. But he got it down to $7,000, so I just had to suck that dick and take that $7,000 and give it to him, and it sucks, you eat a shit sandwich sometimes, but I wanted the house, so I had to eat that shit sandwich. Looking at it multiple times was the last one, right? Sorry, I got sidetracked there. So number 5 would be looking at it multiple times and then doing the final walkthrough as well. So before you sign papers, I would definitely that day of do a walkthrough, especially if there are like things in the house that need to be got out. If there are things that were promised to be done, I would double check, triple check, quadruple check. I think I looked at the house 3 or 4 times before I signed the papers. One was like the initial walkthrough, then a second time, then a third or fourth time was with the final. So the thing with that is the first time you look at the house, you're going to have like your dream cloud, woo, everything's so nice. And then the second time you come in and you have a more analytical viewpoint where you're looking at stuff and you're seeing like trim that doesn't line up, or you're seeing like, oh, there's a carpet's peeled up there, oh, there's kind of a wet spot by that vent or something like that, and you see little random things that you didn't see before. What's that smell in that corner, and you start looking at like the furnace, and you start looking at those small things, and then you go back again and you even nitpick more and you start looking at more and more things, look at all that stuff. You get the inspector out there, of course, and he'll point out stuff for you. But yeah, that's another thing is to look at it multiple times, even. And you might feel like you're being a bother to the seller's agent, but screw them. Their job is they're getting money to file paperwork, and that's it. They don't even have to go out and show the house. They don't have to do really anything. So, all it takes for them to do the house is they have like this real estate inner circle thing where they can send a code to your agent and they unlock the padlock or that holds the key on the door. I don't know. So it's not like something that you should feel worried about bothering them about. If you want to go look at the house 10 times, go look at the house 10 times. Tell them, I want to go look at it again tomorrow. I want to look at it again next week, and I want to look at it again 2 days from then. So I wouldn't feel any type of shyness about that, because this is a big investment you're going to be making. And if something is screwed up that maybe the home inspector didn't see or you didn't see on the first couple times walking through, it could end up costing you a lot of money. Would you rather be a little bit complacent and like make it really easy for them and not bother them, or would you rather save possibly $10,000-$20,000 on something that you didn't see? So that's my 5 things about buying a house. All in all, the experience was great. It's a growing experience. It's something that makes you feel like an adult for sure. You feel like you've grown up, you've bought a house, and it's a very rewarding feeling. So I'd recommend buying one. I would make sure your finances make sense as far as renting versus buying, because sometimes renting makes sense versus buying. There are cases where that definitely makes sense. That is all I have to say about that, and that's the end of the video. Again, guys, this is just stuff I wanted to talk about with that pertains to the purchasing of the house. The rest of the videos are going to be about the renovations and the things I'm putting in and the cool stuff I'm doing. So yeah, those videos will be coming. I've just been filming this. I think we've been renovating for like 2 months now. I've been filming all this stuff. So once I get like a week of like a lull, like everything's kind of calmed down, then I will start editing stuff and putting it out. I just wanted to get this out there real quick, just because I haven't uploaded much on this channel. So you're welcome. Hit the like button if it helped you out. Hit the subscribe button if you're into house stuff, like renovation stuff. You might find some cool stuff I found. I found some pretty cool stuff to put in the house. So I might give you some cool ideas for things that you could do to your house if you've bought a house. But yeah, subscribe, and then comment down below if you have any questions. I could probably get back to you and help you out. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Bye.